Hey guys, welcome to Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host, and I'm in here today with my good friends Tim McDermott, Bobby Futch, fiduciary advisors here at Guardian Investment Advisors. Welcome to the show. If you're listening to us on one of the radio stations in Chattanooga or Knoxville, we appreciate you guys so very much. If you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, we appreciate that as well. Hey, if you are watching us on Facebook or even on YouTube, send some comments to us, guys. If you have questions, we'll get back to you. Answer those questions the best way we can. We love getting feedback from you all. And again, if you're listening to us on the radio show, love for you to take advantage of calling in, having a conversation. Phone number is 423-710-9199. We'll give you opportunities throughout the show to get two things today. One guide. It's a really good guide to just give you the steps to retire. All you have to do is text the word retirement to that same number, 420-9199. And or if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today, you write out via digital, or we can mail it to you, whichever one you want. If you'd like a copy of the book, text the word book, 423-710-9199. Gentlemen, I like today's show because, retirement doesn't come button. We say on our TV show, Tim, you've heard me say this 100 times, you got one shot at retirement. You got to make sure you do it right.
I'm just thinking about Blockbuster now when you had to rewind the whole tape before you took it back, right?
Oh, going back. We are going back in the day.
Retirement doesn't have a Blockbuster video.
Right. So retirement. That's what we're going to be talking about. Guys, how you doing this morning, Bobby? Boys, it's cold.
Literally, I went to start the vehicles this morning because I had a little bit of battery trouble yesterday.
Yep.
I had to replace the battery in my truck yesterday, and bundled up real quick to get it started. There was ice in my beard. When I got back in, I was like, maybe I didn't rinse out my shampoo. No, it was ice. I was only out there 4 or 5 minutes.
We always get at least 1 or 2 weeks a year where it's just brutal, right?
It hurts.
Hopefully it's almost over and we can move on. But
So it's funny. Last night I was texting my friend Billy. You guys know Billy Voiles. He lives up north, and I was down to 14, 15 degrees overnight. He went, that's a heat wave up here. Minus 28.
I did make a trip up there, and it was 40 degrees like in the springtime. I was all bundled up, and everybody's running around their office in shorts, like headed out to go play golf.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how they do it.
It was cold here in Chattanooga, but I got some pictures from a buddy last night up in Nashville.
Yep.
Oh, man, they got hit hard.
They really have some issues up there, so prayers to everybody that got it way worse than we did.
Yeah, and did you see the folks in Mississippi? They got no rain. They got no snow. They got pure ice.
Yeah.
Over 2 inches.
Wow.
Think about that. I mean, they are shut down.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I just, like Bobby said, we're praying for everybody out there that's lucky here in Chattanooga. Knoxville got hit a little bit, but not too bad. So we are off and running and having a great show with you guys today. And like I said, experience when it comes to retirement planning, gentlemen, it's just it's so hard to do the right thing all the time. And, we got to make sure that we're looking at this the right way, Bobby, because there's a lot of don'ts. Let me say that note. Bobby, you got some notes right here. I want to share that note with you real quick. You've done some homework this morning. I mean, you've done some homework this morning. So we're segment, guys, about the biggest mistakes in retirement. And, I think, Tim, one of the biggest things that we hear all the time, guys, I'll just work longer if I need to. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, is it an option? I guess, maybe. And here's really the big issue with that. We've seen, I'd say more than I've ever seen in my career. We've seen folks who are getting laid off and kind of forced to retire earlier than they wanted to without really the option to make another decision, right? Their company's coming to them saying, hey, we're trying to get rid of some folks. Would you like to take a payout? Or, if not, we're going to force a certain amount of people to take off, right?
Yeah, and that should be like the golden parachute, right? You're getting ready for retirement. If you're halfway ready and you get this big buyout package,
that
should be a good thing. But most people that come into those, they're really stressed out about it.
And I hate to say it, but it's a little harder to go out and get that high-paying job when you're in your 60s, right?
Oh, you're probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're overqualified. You're overexperienced.
Yep.
But are we seeing more people choose to work, Bobby? I mean, are we seeing more people choose to work part-time or maybe start a new career in retirement?
Yeah, we're seeing that, but I think the ones that are really excited about it and the one where it fits really well into their plan, that's been something they've considered for a long time.
Agreed. It's part of the plan, right?
It's part of the plan.
Yeah. And I like it. I encourage it, actually.
Yeah. it's not one of those things. Well, I got laid off, or we've talked to a couple people this year that the quote is, "I'm one bad meeting away from quitting."
Yeah, we've heard
Right?
that.
And if you get into that position, it's a lot harder to say, tell your boss to stick it, right?
Right.
And then, hey, can I come back and work part time?
Yeah,
That probably wouldn't be a very good conversation.
agreed.
Well, you mentioned the word plan. I mean, if retirement planning was easy, I mean, everybody would already be retired, right? I think of a conversation that Brogan and I had with a guy down in Miami yesterday, and he started. I mean, we were trying to, get to know him a little bit better, and he goes, "Look, stop. Here's what I need. I need to not go back to work because I feel like I'm about to go back to work, and I'm 69
Yeah.
years old, and he's got assets. He just don't know how to place them correctly to get an income, so he don't have to go back to work, Bobby. We're hearing that a lot.
I mean, it sounds like he's getting burned out, right? We just met with some clients the other day, and the original plan was for them to work out to age 65 or so. And now they're saying, hey, look, we're burned out. We got to get out of here. They work their whole lives to get up to the point that they are. They're making good money. They're at good places in their jobs. And they just say, look, I'm done with this. I got to get out of here. And I can understand that, right? It's the stress, the constant, having to worry about this and that and something missed. I mean, they're in high performance jobs and they're ready to be done, right? Working longer is an option, I guess, but it can be exhausting, and it's not how you want to spend retirement.
Yeah,
People are living longer too. They're getting sick too. We've seen that
Yeah.
a couple times where people have retired or about to retire, and unfortunately they've gotten sick in a meaningful way. And so if you had to go back to work,
yeah.
you can't. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not always as easy to say, well, I'll just go back to work if I need to.
So don't depend on going back to work. Put a plan together. Start now. Get the plan together. And Bobby, this is a big don't to me. The market always comes back, Bobby. It always comes back. I'll just pull money out of my market account, my 401k, whatever.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, because if you're going to ask me if the market always comes back, so far the answer's been yes, right? The
That's
market
true.
always does
That's
come
true.
back. After 2008, it took 5 years to get back, though. And what this really introduces into retirement planning is what we talk about a lot, and we call sequence of return risk.
Yeah.
Right? The market will come back, but the point is can your retirement plan sustain the downtimes?
Yeah, the market may come back, but will your account come back?
Yeah. And I grabbed your notes there real quick because I knew you kind of wanted to geek out on us for a minute with these sequence of return risks,
Yeah,
Bobby.
I've got an illustration here because we talk about it. I think if you get down into the numbers, it makes more sense. So bear with me for the next 30 seconds or so. I'm going to get into some numbers, but I think it's easy. We're going to have Tim and Gary here. They're each going to retire with $1 million in a market portfolio, right?
Okay.
And they want to spend $60,000 a year.
Okay.
Okay. Tim ends up falling victim to sequence of return risk. In the first 5 years in retirement, his account is down 20%, down 10%, down 5%. Then it comes back and does plus 10, plus 15.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind
Down-
of like early 2000s.
Kinda
Yeah,
like the
exactly, yeah.
2000s. Gary here, these are the same average rates of return, right? But we're going to flip those. Gary did up 15, up 10, up 5, then lost 10%, and then lost 20%.
Okay.
Okay, so at the end of that 5 years, they've all spent the same amount of money.
$60,000 a year.
$60,000 a year. Tim has $603,000 left,
Ouch.
and Gary has $713.
Okay.
That's a $110,000 difference just because the order in which those returns happen in your portfolio.
Same
Wow.
average return.
Save average return,
Same withdrawal.
withdrawals, but just the way that the market gave those returns made a $110,000 difference. in
That's
these-
Lesson is don't retire in a down year.
yeah, if you can nail it,
If
right?
you
I think we're going to talk about this a little later. Pulling assets just from a market account to fund retirement
Not a good
is probably not wise. And these numbers explain exactly why that could be detrimental to your retirement plan.
Yeah. I'm on our first segment. We can always finish this segment up because I know Social Security will cover most of my expenses in retirement.
That may be true, but for most of our clients, it is not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not in a position where $4,000 to $5,000 a month is covering, the majority of your expenses, and most people have to supplement that. And as pensions have kind of hit the wayside, we're trying to find other ways to guarantee that income and make sure that you can take care of retirement without having to go through sequence of returns risk or the risk in the market, right?
Yeah.
So it's important. This is huge. We're actually doing an event in Knoxville in a couple of weeks all about Social Security planning, because we can optimize Social Security and make it work for us, right, Bob?
Most people's retirement plans.
It should be the start of the retirement
That's right.
income planning
That's right.
process, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big part of it. So, if hope was a strategy, everybody be retired. That's why we're offering you our retirement guide today. If you'd like to get a copy via email of our retirement guide, text the word retirement, 423-710-9199. And all of our shows, we're offering my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. All you have to do is text the word book, 423-710-9199. Again, the phone number is 423-710-9199. Text the word retirement to get our retirement guide. Text the word book. We'll send this out to you via digital and you in the mail. Folks, you got one shot at retirement. What we do here at Guardian Investment Advisors is we work hard to put that plan together that you can go into retirement and live every day like a Saturday. We do not want you to be stressed. We do not want you to be overwhelmed. The main thing we do not want is you to be worried about running out of money. That's one of the big things as this show continues on. As we're talking about the do's and don'ts in retirement, when we come back, we're going to get more into maybe some of the do's that you do in retirement. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you. Welcome back. I had a little fun on that first segment today. We're talking about the do's and don'ts in retirement. We kind of hit, gentlemen, some don'ts. I'll just work longer. The market always comes back. Social Security will cover most stuff. Tristan reminded me that some of you, we have some viewers right now on YouTube and Facebook watching us. If you would like the retirement guide or my book and you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, comment below the word retirement. We'll send the retirement guide right out to you. Or comment below the word book, and we'll send my book right out to you. And if you're same thing, text the word retirement, 423-710-9199, or text the word book to 423-710-9199, and we'll jump right in. Guys, at first segment, all right, and so we talked about some don'ts out there, but let's talk about some do's, because now a little bit, let's get back to some reality. And Tim, I think this is a big one right here. Do, know your number. Don't just guess at this. You got to know your number.
Yeah, and to not be misunderstood, the number isn't necessarily the net worth.
That's right.
Right. I know we all strive to get to this number. We all have a number in mind to say if I can reach $1 million or whatever the case may be, then retirement's going to be easy, right? And while that number is nice, it doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot because we have to take that net worth and turn it into an income in retirement.
Right.
And the income is really the important number. I've seen folks who have, $100,000, $200,000 that have $10,000, $20,000 a month coming in income, and that's because they have pensions or they have large Social Security and all this other jazz that's going on with their setup. And folks with $1 million, and if you use that old 4% rule, which is outdated by the way, that's only 40 grand a year that you're looking on, right? That's not super impressive. And so it's about taking that asset net worth and turning it into an income number. Do you know how much your net worth is going to pay you in income throughout retirement? That would be the number that you need to know.
That's incredible to me, Bobby. Go ahead.
We get asked, fairly often, hey, how much money do I have to have to retire? It's just not that easy of a question,
Right.
That number is different for everybody, and it has to do with your sources of income, how much you need. So it's not about a bank or a brokerage account balance in the end of the day.
Income is the outcome. It's something we say all the time. And I think if you don't have an income plan put in place, you just talked about the sequence of return risk. You need some solid income to go along with that Social Security, maybe go along with the pension that you have. We hope you have a pension, but if you don't, we got to do extra planning to make sure we have that. Bobby, I like this match money to purpose. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, and I think the point here is not all your money has to be retirement money, and that's okay because there's other things you need. You need to have what we call our yellow bucket, your emergency money.
Sure.
Right? It's just boring money that's usually in a bank, in a CD, maybe in a MIGA somewhere, just earning some steady interest that you can get at when you need it. Right?
Yeah.
Things tear up all the time. Like I mentioned earlier, I had to go put a new battery in my truck yesterday. Wasn't expecting to do that.
Yeah,
right? Good thing I had that yellow bucket of money, so I didn't have to go into my 401k or my retirement accounts or any of my other brokerage accounts because that's not what that money is for.
Right.
The yellow money is when your hood freezes shut and you have to replace a battery.
Yeah, yeah.
The green money is the income money.
Yeah.
And that's the one that's going to make sure you don't run out of money and those paychecks keep going.
Sure.
And then the red money is probably the most exciting for me. That's money in the market.
Yeah.
And each one of them has their own lane, if you will.
Yeah. Finish up with this, Bobby. Last week on our show, I think it might have been 2 weeks, somebody requested. Then we got in a conversation, with our tech service with this guy, and he went, "Wait a minute, do you guys these?" Because we were really stressing how we use annuities for income. Talk about that just for a few minutes, both of you. Spend some time. Guardian Investment Advisors, we're not a one-stop shop as far as we only sell annuities or we only put your money in the market. We look at your whole retirement plan.
Yeah, we're really a retirement planning firm.
I like that.
Can we place annuity contracts? Can we place life insurance? Yes, but we do that because it's part of a comprehensive retirement plan.
That's right.
Do we manage money in the market? Yes. It can be, as boring as treasuries if that's what you need to do, or we can go out and have some growth allocations. We really do a lot of different things because you have to put them all together to have a good retirement plan.
Yeah.
It has to be viewed in the sense of a holistic plan. That holistic plan has to take into account long-term care planning, taxes,
Medicare?
inflation, Medicare.
Yeah.
We got Tanner Moore in office.
Right.
His old job is to take care of you on the health insurance side, right? Medicare's a crazy world, so he knows the ins and outs of this. But I find a lot of plans that come into place. They say, hey, I've met with my advisor, and he put together an income plan for me. But that income plan doesn't take into account the inflation or the tax aspect of things, right? They're giving them a gross number to say, here's how much money you'll have in retirement. Great. What are taxes going to do in the future? And, even right now, if I'm at a 20% bracket, your income's 20% less than what he's telling you it is, right?
That's right.
And that makes a massive difference. So we're trying to make sure we're doing this in the most tax-efficient manner as well.
I like that. There's a famous commercial out there from a very, 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 very large firm. And you guys will know what this is. I'm not going to say the name of the firm, but their commercial, one of the main things they say is, we do not take commissions. We do not take commissions. Well, then you're not doing a true plan for somebody. Because if we sell life insurance, Bobby, how do we get paid?
The commission.
If we sell Medicare, how do we get paid?
That's usually a commission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it to claim you're not taking commissions, okay, about growth. You're not looking at the full picture. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And, commissions are kind of like, we talk about the A word all the time, right?
Yeah.
Annuity. Commissions just, kind of feel gross to a lot of people. That's not your money, right, first off.
That's right.
We've got to be paid for our effort and our expertise. The insurance company is paying us those commissions.
Yeah.
So if you put $100,000 in an annuity or a life, that's how much it's going to be day one.
Sure.
The insurance
crazy.
company pays us, right? So
That's right.
You're to do that.
That's crazy. This next one, our $2,000 a second, $2.5 million per minute. So our segments on this show are about 12 minutes long, 30 per segment. But our country's going in debt. But Tim, the plan for taxes before retirement.
Yeah. This is typically where we set up that calculator. We'll run a full inclusive plan for you that kind of timelines out retirement. And it talks to us about the most tax efficient way to handle withdrawals and income in retirement. And a lot of times right now, because of the situation that we're in today's world, we're talking about Roth conversions.
Right.
We're in the third lowest income tax bracket we've seen in U.S. history. If you have to pay those taxes on those IRA and 401k funds at some point, why not pay them when they're cheap,
That's right.
right? And right now, believe it or not, it may not feel like it, but they're cheap.
They are cheap, and it's hard to swallow sometimes with folks. I know you're working with some clients. We just had this conversation this morning about some clients at Wealth Conversions. A father who was one of my biggest mentors, he always used to say, "Do you want to pay taxes on the seeds, or do you want?" And it just always made sense to me, you know. So let's don't. I'll just work longer if I need to. Don't. The market always comes back. Don't cover most of it. Then we just talked about some match money to purpose, make your money work for you. And another plan for taxes before retirement. So I'm going to flag. One, I'm starting with you. Putting all your money in the three. Red flag or a green flag? Mostly red flag. Why?
It's all about a risk management tool, right?
Sure.
If you plan on working to 85, maybe I'm not going to wave that red flag as high.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
most people that want to retire at 65, having all your money in the market, introduce some risk that you probably don't want to be taking.
Yeah.
I love that. Tim, red flag, green flag. Creating guaranteed income for basic expensive.
Big green flag.
Big.
Love this, right? And we can back into this number. This usually stems from understanding a budget. That's a bad word, right?
A word. Now we're talking about the B
Yeah.
word.
The C word came up too. No, but this all stems from understanding a budget. And when I say budget, it doesn't mean that I'm asking you to go back and slim down and eat ramen noodles on Wednesday to make sure that you're saving money. It means being realistic and understanding where your money goes. Because more times than not, I sit in front of somebody and I say, how much do you guys spend on a monthly basis? And they're just not sure, right? They have a rough idea within $1,000, $2,000, but that's a vague understanding of things, and you really want to understand that so that when you get in retirement, you didn't underestimate yourself.
Yeah, our job on that isn't to tell you to spend less. It's to make sure that you can spend what you want to spend
That's
For a long time.
for a long time.
Longevity risk is real.
and I want to do it in a guilt-free manner.
Right.
And when I say guilt-free, I don't want you to go through a down market and then feel like, oh, I don't really want to reach in and pull money out of my accounts because they're down right now. That's why we're creating that guaranteed income so that money comes to you no matter what happens economically, legislatively. And you can take that money, you can go to Texas Roadhouse on Wednesday and get your cinnamon butter and enjoy it without having to feel guilty about it, right?
I think we know Tim's weakness.
I know it.
He brings
I
up
like
Texas
cinnamon
Roadhouse
butter.
bread every show. The whole point here, folks, is that we want you to retire happy. We want you to retire stress-free. We don't want you to worry about running out of money. We don't want you to worry about higher taxes, inflation. We want the right Medicare plan. Do you need life insurance? I don't know. We need to have a conversation about that. Do we need life insurance for legacy purposes? Maybe we do. And when it comes to tax planning, the guys, Tim, Bobby, Brogan up in Knoxville, they're so good at making sure we plan taxes around your full picture. And when we're talking about this budget, this spending plan, we want to make sure we know what your lifestyle is. Because if we don't know what it is or what your goal lifestyle is, then we're not going to be able to help you with that budget or that spending plan. So that's why we got to sit down, have a conversation. It's absolutely free, and then see if we can put a plan together for you. Now, a couple things I want to tell you. If you'd like to get our retirement guide, either comment below or text the word retirement to 423-9199. Like I said, you can comment below or text 423-710-9199 retirement. We'll send you out our guide in digital form. Or if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, say below or text 423-710-9199. When we come back, we're going to talk about some traps in retirement planning. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. With a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you. Welcome back to Playing the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host. I'm in here with Tim McDermott, Bobby Futch. We got Brogan Walters up in our Knoxville office. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. We're having a little fun today, talking about the do's and don'ts in retirement planning. We're going to talk about some traps in retirement planning, the things that people get trapped after they retire. That's what we're going to hit on next. Now, I just want to throw this out there to you guys. If you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, you can comment the word retirement below. We'll send you out our retirement guide absolutely free via digital form. You can also comment below the word book. We'll send you my book, Plan Today on Tomorrow. We can send that to you in digital form and or mail it to you. And if you're listening to us on the radio in Chattanooga or the Knoxville areas, same thing, but we're going to use a text service. Text the word retirement, 423-710-9199, or text the word book to 423-710-9199. So, gentlemen, these are mistakes people make after they retire, and it gets a little harder to fix things, gentlemen, after retire. So, Bobby, let's start. No, Tim, I'm going to start with you because you were kind of talking about this a few minutes ago. Let's talk about the healthcare shock. That's a big.
Healthcare is one of the, if not the highest inflated program in the United States right now. And you'll see this over and over again. While you get your COLA increase, that cost of living increase on your Social Security, it feels like it gets taken right back in the inflation costs of your Medicare Part B premiums, right?
Yeah.
Every year that's going up. Not only is that going up, the drug plan cost is going up, and the prescription medications are going up. Things get very expensive very quickly in the healthcare costs. Gary, you may know this number. There's an outstandingly large number per individual that you're going to need for healthcare throughout retirement. Do you remember what that number is?
Yeah, so Fidelity did a report a couple years ago. They recently came out and did the report again. They're saying a healthy 65-year-old person is probably going to need near $170,000 per person throughout retirement.
Wow.
Just to cover copays, deductibles, that
And that doesn't
out-of-pocket costs.
That's after insurance.
Yeah, and that doesn't include long-term care either.
Does not
right?
include long-term care, and it does not include what Bobby just said. It does not include your Medicare. This is
Right.
just cost, pure
Out-of-pocket
cost.
costs.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of money, right? And
it's a
if you-
tremendous amount of money.
You think about that, is that built into your budget, or do you have a pot of money set off to the side to cover those extra costs? I hope so, right? You need to have that in place. You need to be able to plan for that. And then long-term care not being taken into effect with that,
Man.
that's a very expensive venture.
Yeah.
When you talk about the average cost for a private room right now in the Chattanooga or Tennessee Valley area, I mean, you're talking about $9,000+ a month, probably, right?
Yeah, it gets very expensive. And another, I think, misconception out there, gentlemen, is a lot of people think Medicare covers long-term care, Bobby.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. When I learned this a couple years ago, Medicare does cover very, very basic long-term care if you're coming out of the hospital,
Correct.
right? But you have to go directly from the hospital to a facility, and it's
Yep.
only 100 days.
Yep.
That's not what we're talking about when
No.
we talk about
That's
long-term
short-term care.
That's
Yeah,
short-term
very.
care in a very specific window.
Sure.
And so if you're concerned, and I think everybody should be concerned about long-term care, Medicare's not the answer.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure you're on the right Medicare plan.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, that's in my opinion. We sitting down with Tanner and sitting down with some of our clients, and I've seen what he's educated them on. I'm like, wow.
And the Medicare world seems like it's going through
It's a lot.
some craziness right
It's a
now.
lot.
With different types of plans kind
Yeah.
of being kicked off and not offered and all kinds
Mm-hmm.
of nonsense that's going on there. So if you haven't reviewed that Medicare plan in a few years, now's a great time to go do it. Call
Mm-hmm.
Tanner Moore. He'll talk to you about it. But this is pertinent to what's happening
I think
in
you
the
should-
changing world.
I'm sorry to cut you
Go-
off.
you're
I
go
think
ahead.
you should do that every year. You come in and talk to your financial planner about your retirement plan. We just say a big piece of that is Medicare and health
100%.
insurance. Why aren't you looking at that every year? Because to your point, working so closely with Tanner, so much changes every year.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
it's not uncommon that you'll be on a plan for a year or two, and then there's something better that fits you.
And those Medicare premiums are continuing to go up. They continue to go up. I know we have COLA adjustments with Social Security, but
Yeah.
they sometimes don't cover that extra bump these insurance companies for Medicare are putting out there for us. Bobby, I love this one. Underestimating inflation.
Kind of what we just talked about.
It kind of is, but tied into some different things.
Yeah, inflation, is kind of like termites.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? I
Slow,
don't know.
destructive.
I don't know if I haven't had to deal with this personally, but I've had some people have to deal with termites in their house.
I did it in Florida.
You did it in
actually,
Florida?
yeah.
Okay, well then
Yeah.
you know this all too well. You probably didn't know about it when it was first happening. You didn't notice.
Exactly
you didn't
right.
notice. Then all of a sudden, it's a big problem.
That's exactly right.
And fixing it can be a huge issue, especially if you're in retirement. It's something you have to take into account in your plan. We talk about the health insurance and health care cost inflation because that's one of the biggest ones. But there isn't too much in our economy that's getting cheaper every year,
no,
right?
no.
Everything keeps going up.
Big
it
screen
keeps going
TVs
up.
are getting cheaper.
That,
That's
I mean,
true.
hey, you can go get a deal on big screen TV
Yeah,
right now.
if you want to be a television collector in retirement, hey, you're good to go. But everything else is going to be more expensive, and it doesn't have to be the 9% annual inflation we saw a couple years ago.
No.
Last year printed at 2.7. It's below average, but that's still a meaningful increase, especially when it happens year over year over year.
Well, especially when you're not working anymore. The
That's right.
paychecks are not coming in anymore. You're on that budget, Tim, that you talked about a few minutes ago. The cost of goods continue to go up, so you got to build inflation into your retirement plan. Tim, this is interesting to me. This is something I'm a little guilty of, but in the right ways, I guess, is helping adult kids too much.
In the
Let's
right
stop.
way.
I think it's the right way anyway.
No, this is a bit of a problem, right? We see this a lot. Helping your kids out is great. You want to help them buy that first house. You want to help them through college. I think all that's awesome. Often we see some folks come in and their kids are grown kids,
Yeah.
30s, 40s,
Yeah.
50s, and they're still paying half of their way, throughout life. I understand some of you guys are out there. You have kids with disabilities. That's not what I'm
That's
talking about, right?
different.
We're talking about you're forfeiting your retirement because you're dishing out funds to your kids that could go get a job and kind of support themselves, right?
This is one of those things that, again, doing it is not wrong.
Right.
You just have to make sure that if it's something you want to do or you're passionate about, it's got to be part of your plan, right? Because you can't be 4 or 5 years in retirement and then go help your kids with a $50,000 down payment on a house just because
Right.
you want to.
Right.
If we're
That's a
not-
big expense that you weren't planning for.
If we're not taking care of mom and dad first, it's going to be really hard to keep taking care of the kids later on.
That is very true. You guys reminded me that same gentleman I talked to that said he was trying to avoid going back to work. One of his reasons, his daughter lives in New York City. She's got a education. She's working 3 jobs. He goes, and she just can't maintain working 3 jobs. I'm like, maybe she should move out of New York City. I mean, that's a high cost of living place right there. I mean, sometimes you got to make those calls.
Yeah.
Instead of keep funding and funding, maybe she, needs to make an adjustment where she lives. Not saying to move. I'm just saying maybe that's something to think about. I like this, Bobby. Should I pay off my house before I retire?
If you can, it would be great, right? But I don't worry too much with folks that are carrying mortgage debt into retirement.
Especially in today's world where you probably have a 3% or under
Or less?
interest rate. That's, as long as you didn't buy a house in the last couple of years, you're probably at 3% or so. That's something I would call good debt.
Yeah, that's good debt because generally the price of that asset is increasing.
Mhm.
It's good debt. So, no, I'm not going to tell you to hold up your retirement and put it off a few years just because you have a mortgage.
Right.
There's always caveats to that, right? If you've got some ridiculous mortgage loan that's above average rate, maybe we want to talk about that. But like to Gary's point, he just mentioned there's good debt and there's bad debt. Generally, primary home debt is good debt.
Yeah.
And
And you've been
speaking-
paying it for years and years and years. You're used to it. And you're like,
So what? Let's not talk about house, Tim. Can I retire if I still have debt in general?
Potentially, this gets a little more sticky when we
Correct.
talk about just regular debt. We had a gentleman come in the other day, and they're going through a little bit of a sticky situation. It's getting better for them, but he had racked up $40,000-$50,000 in consumer debt over the last couple years, and that's a little more difficult, right? You got
Yeah.
interest rates that are 25-30% on credit cards. That's debt. I would say you need to get rid of that and make sure we're in a good spot to not reaccumulate that before
Right.
you go out and quit your day job.
You
Right?
agree with that, Bobby?
Yeah, it made sense for this particular couple just to go ahead and bite the bullet and pay it off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he had the assets to do so.
Yeah. If you can avoid getting into it, obviously that's the better way to do it. But listen, life happens.
Yeah.
That's what happened to this couple. They weren't planning to do that. It just happened. Now, before
Medical bills. I mean, whatever,
that's
right?
Exactly
Was that
what
what
it
it was?
was. Yeah. And again, life happens. You're not going to not pay for those things.
Yep.
But before they get into retirement in earnest, that was something we needed to take care of because
And-
it's difficult to pay off just making monthly payments.
And let's hit this for a minute, gentlemen, real quick. Younger folks, 20s, 30s, 40s, 20s, 30s, 40s, try to avoid that credit card debt as
Oh,
much
yeah.
as you can. I mean, right, Tim? I mean, it can eat you alive.
Yeah, I would certainly never encourage someone to have any kind of credit card debt. If you're in a position where you're accumulating credit card debt, that is a problem that needs to be fixed today, and it does not need to be put off. Good debt and bad debt, that's probably one of the worst ones that are out there.
Yeah.
If it's a spending problem, then we need to fix the spending problem. If it's a temporary issue like medical concerns
Yeah,
or issues
yeah.
of that, we need to figure out how to take some of the assets that you have and get those paid off.
Yeah. Put a plan together.
Yep.
Put a plan together.
And I think the important part here is if you're a young person and you're worried about this, you need to have that yellow bucket of money.
Yeah, that's right.
You need to have the money set aside to take care of things like that because I promise it's going to happen.
That'll
Oh,
It
yeah.
happens to everybody, and you can't control when it happens. So get out in front of it and make sure, even before you start hoarding a bunch of cash away for retirement, you got that yellow bucket.
That's right. If you're thinking, I wish somebody would have told me this sooner. Comment below if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. Comment the word retirement. We'll send you out our retirement guide absolutely free via email. You could also comment below the word book, and we'll send you out my book, Plan the Day on Tomorrow. If you're listening to us in Knoxville, Chattanooga on the radio, we're going to use a little different format. Text the word retirement, 423-710-9199, and or text the word book, 423-710-9199. We'll get either one of them right out to you, and I think it'll be good for you. So when we come to the segment, and we're really going to do a rapid fire, lightning round section on do's and don'ts in retirement. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For team has helped thousands and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started in power retirement right now. Thank you. Welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host here at Guardian Investment Advisors. Glad you guys are joining us on the radio and our YouTube and Facebook today. We really appreciate it. Just want to reiterate what we're giving away today. If you would like our retirement guide, if you're watching us on social media, down below, comment the word retirement. We'll send you out a retirement guide. If you're listening to us on the radio, text the word retirement, 423-710-9199. If you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook and you'd like a copy of my book, Plan the Day on Tomorrow, comment below the word book. And again, if you're listening to us on the radio, text the word book, 423-710-9199. We've had a fun show today talking about some do's and don'ts, talking about some things that traps that happen post-retirement that can really get you in a sticky situation. So we're going to use this last section just to freelance this, but I'm going to kind of do a rapid fire with you guys and talk about a couple of different things. So, Tim, I'll start with you. Retirement without a written plan.
No go.
Big
I'd
A.
say don't do that. Have something written down, have something in place, understand where your income comes from, understand the tax treatment that you're going to have a full picture written plan in place so that you understand where that's coming from, how it's going to fulfill your retirement needs, and make sure that's personalized to you. I know there's a kind of a lot of quick 5-10 minute calculators that you can get online. Have something intentional, and it's tailored to you for what you were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, your retirement's going to be 20, 30 plus years.
That's right.
There's no way that you can take into account all the variables and all the moving parts without having it written down. You might be able to do that for 6 months, a year or two, right, and keep it in your head, but it's
Even
just
having it written down. I mean, it's hard enough as it is, right? We
Yeah.
don't know what tax rates will be in the future or how bad inflation is going to be. Even having it written down won't cover all of your problems throughout retirement, but you can have solutions in place to take care and make sure that things are flexible and able
Right.
to breathe.
So Tim, I mean, the second part of that question, how important it is for folks to have help working with a fiduciary firm that is going to put everything together for you, not just talk about growth, but put a full plan together for you. Doing this on your own is difficult.
Yeah, especially when you don't understand, all the laws that have changed. Legislation has been crazy over the last few years. The One Big Beautiful Bill, the Secure Acts. We've seen a lot of big changes to the tax situations, and all of that affects how it's going to impact your retirement. This is what we do, is what we stay on top of, and make it adjustable, make it flexible, make it breathable for the future and what you're trying to accomplish.
And Bobby, isn't it like, it's like we're in the NFL and we score a touchdown? Isn't it so rewarding when those clients walk away and you go, man, we just put a heck of a plan together for these guys, and they're going to have a great retirement.
It's something that I think about all the time. Everybody, hopefully you retire once, right?
Yeah.
You just do it once, and it's not something that you do day in and day out. We help put retirement plans together every day, right? And it's one of those things that if I needed heart surgery, I'm not going to somebody who's done it once, right? I mean, better than a cardiologist, but I'd go to somebody who knows what they do, and that's what they specialize in.
Sure.
And I think that's why it's important, because there are going to be things that you should think of that you don't
Yeah.
or have missed.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to talk to a professional.
Rely on one income source.
Yeah, that's not good. That's a no-go, right? And so we kind of mentioned that Social Security. Most folks are going to have Social Security. That doesn't get you there to retirement most of the time.
We've had a fair amount of people walk in our office and say, what's going to happen with Social Security? And there's a lot of concern around that. Are they going to reduce it? Are you going to have it? What's it going to look like in 10 years?
Yeah.
It's all based around that Social Security fund and if it's going to be alive. Long story short, I think it will be. But nonetheless, if we're so concerned about will Social Security be around, do we want to put all our eggs in the basket of relying on Social Security to handle all of our income?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the more income sources and streams you can have, the more successful your retirement's going to be.
Totally agree.
So if that's one you've created through savings and then turning it into a fixed income annuity or making supplemental withdrawals out of a market account. But if you have a pension, if you have rental income, the more successful retirees we see have 3, 4, 5 of these things, right? And they don't all have to be huge, but if you can spread them out over a bunch of different income sources, the better. Because when one of them gets affected, it's unlikely all of them will.
Yeah.
I'd say if you're listening right now and you're 50 or younger, you probably should not be relying on Social Security as part of your retirement income.
Plan around it.
Yeah, and it may be there. It very well may be there. But with all the issues that are around Social Security, and
National
especially,
debt.
if you're
Yeah.
out there doing what you're supposed to be doing and saving well, there's a chance you may not see that Social Security or a reduced portion of that Social Security. I would be planning as if it's not there, and if it comes, it's gravy on top.
Yeah,
That's right.
The reason you say that is because a lot of what we've been reading and hearing is at some point maybe Social Security may be means tested,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so right now we have high income earners we work with that have a great Social Security
Yeah.
benefit, and they also
Maxed
have a
out.
great retirement savings.
Yeah.
The government may look at that and go, you're double dipping a little bit. Social Security wasn't meant for folks like you, so we're going to either eliminate yours or cut it
Yeah.
back.
Could happen. Could happen.
We just don't know. That's the issue.
Tim, I like this a whole lot. You talked about having that written plan, not having that written plan, but what about you have a plan in place, stress test your plan?
Yeah, I think it's really important. Part of the system, the written plan that we run for our clients has a stress test built into it. And so it'll take their scenario, their taxable consequences and everything into the big picture and say, what's the likelihood that we make it through retirement without running out of issues? If we're using our bucket system properly, we're covering the expenses and guaranteeing what you need to have in income. That there's really no questions asked. It'll take care of the situation that you're in, and that's what we want. We want to make sure that we're guaranteeing a certain amount of income so that you don't run through retirement wondering what will happen.
A follow-up question to you: how often do you stress test your plan?
Yeah, if it's set up properly the first time, it's done, right?
Right.
You don't need to worry
About it. Life does happen.
Of course, absolutely. And that's not to say that things won't change and you don't need to be on top of things
Right.
or adjust and review. But if things are set up properly and we're guaranteeing that income for life, you don't have to worry about coming in and stress testing it every single year, right? Only if there's a big major life change.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that goes into stress testing, right? Market conditions.
Yep.
We talked about sequence of return risk earlier in the show. That's a big one. Taxes are a big one, right? We know taxes are going to go up. So if you don't plan for that, the eventuality that taxes may increase, that could derail your plan.
Yeah.
Inflation. There's a lot that goes into testing these plans to make sure they're robust and you don't have to tear it up and start over in year
That's
3
right.
or 4 in retirement.
I love that. And speaking about taxes, Bobby, I love this. Know your tax bracket after retirement.
This is worded. I'm going to get you on a technicality here. You need to know your tax bracket for after you retire, before you retire, right? And so if you know your tax bracket and it's a surprise for you after you retire, you haven't done a good job, and we haven't either. But to my point a little earlier, you need to be able to look at your sources and uses of income in retirement and what tax rates may change in the future and plan for that when you have the most flexibility, which is right now.
Yeah, I love that so much.
And Roth conversions. If you hadn't talked to your advisor about Roth conversions, you're really missing the boat.
100%.
Agreed.
Let's talk about it.
So make sure you do not retire without a plan. Make sure you do not rely on one income source. Make sure you do stress test your plan, and make sure you do know that tax bracket, know how taxes work. Like Bobby said, before and after retirement. That's going to be essential to having a happy retirement. So, Tim, give me some final thoughts on this show.
We want folks to retire comfortably and peacefully. That comes from planning, right? It doesn't come from hoping things work out and just saying, hey, I've got a lump sum of cash that'll kind of sustain things. Retire in peace and understand that it comes from a plan. Put things to work purposefully and stress test it.
Yeah, that's
I
one of
love
my very favorite parts about this job is, when people come in and say, I've been working for 30 plus years, I've been saving, I want to retire, but I'm not sure I can.
Yeah.
Right? And then we go through this process and they look at it and go, oh, man, I was planning to work for another year, but I want to retire now.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go, well, hold on now. No, that's not quite what we said. But they have the peace of mind to know that when they're ready to retire, they can do it confidently. And that's the coolest one when that light bulb goes off.
Peace of mind's a big thing.
Yeah.
Bobby, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of gets hung up on a final savings number for retirement, right?
Yeah.
You have to be rich, air quotes, to
Sure.
retire. The funny thing about being rich is it's different for everybody, right? We help people with a couple $100,000 retire comfortably and confidently. We help people with millions of dollars do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
There's no magic number you have to save to get in retirement. It's all about, are you able to make sure you have the income streams in retirement to live the way you want to live?
Yep.
Everybody's got a different goal set. Everybody's got a different lifestyle. Part of our job is to figure out what that is
Yeah.
and use what you've worked so hard for to set that up for you.
Be the best chapter of your life, not the most stressful. You guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, you got to have it. That show is plan today so you can own tomorrow. We want you to own your retirement. So we're going to give you guys a couple of things here. If you're watching us on social media, YouTube, and our Facebook, if you'd like our retirement guide, comment below the word retirement. We'll send it right out to you. If you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, down below in the comments, text the word book or put the word book in comment below, and we'll send it out to you via digital or mail. If you're listening to many radio stations that run in the Chattanooga area and the Knoxville area, same thing for you guys, but we're going to use a text service. If you'd like our retirement guide, text the word retirement to 423-710-9199. And if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, 423-710-9199. Text the word book. That has been such a popular thing for us the last few weeks. I want to say personally thank you for all those that have reached out to get a copy of my book. Had some great conversations with some of you. I know you're going to work with Tim, Bobby, Brogan up in Knoxville. We're going to be able to put this plan together for you. We're going to help you avoid the don'ts and help you do the do's. Is that?
I
do
like
the
it.
do's.
I like it.
Do the do's. That's what
Just
we're looking
do
at.
it.
I like that. Like Scooby-Doo. Hey, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Plan the day. Gary Thurman. We appreciate you guys so much. And we will talk to you guys next week.